Hey guys, welcome back. Chili Sports Cards here. Today I did a little bit of work for you guys, and I did something that I've been wanting to do that I haven't done yet. Basically, what this video is going to be about is third baseman. Me and Bobbles and Cards were just talking about it a couple days ago. Third basemen are very undervalued in the sports card hobby. You got a lot of really good third basemen out there right now. Manny Machado, Nolan Arenado. The Torres guy on the Yankees. I think that's the third baseman, or it's Sanchez. I can't remember. I'm not a big Yankees fan, so anyway. Who else? Matt Chapman. There's a Chris Bryant. There's a lot of really good third basemen out there right now. But I think out of all the third basemen that are out there right now, that who's doing the best overall is got to be Nolan Arenado. His numbers are really really good. I think that it's a pretty common thing if you ask, a lot of people who they thought the best third baseman of all time was, including Pete Rose. He'll tell you Mike Schmidt all day. Pete Rose got to play with Mike Schmidt in the late 70s or the early 80s, and he considers Mike Schmidt to be the best third baseman of all time. Well, what this video is about. Is basically I broke down Mike Schmidt's first 7 years and Nolan Arenado's first 7 years. Interesting fact, when they both hit Major League Baseball and became rookies and started playing games, they were both the same age. They were both 22 years old. So, as far as being mature and, starting out at the same time in their life, it's very similar. The main difference between the rookie seasons is Mike Schmidt did not play nearly as much as Nolan Arenado. So Nolan Arenado is going to have a lot more at bats and stuff like that for his first year. And so when I talk about the career totals, I think that's definitely notable. And I'll talk about that at the end after I go over everything. But pretty much after that, they're pretty close. The stats, the at bats. I think that Mike Schmidt has a better on-base percentage because he walked more. But other than that, Nolan Arenado has him in every other category, including fielding percentage. I'm going to go ahead and move the phone a little bit. What you're looking at right here is basically my laptop and baseball reference, .com or whatever. And I wrote down all the stats that to me are really important. A lot of people really are all about the WAR, and I think that's cool because it's wins above replacement, and it considers that what you're up against during that time, and I think that errors are very important, but at the same time, hard stats, that's direct contributions that you apply to help your team win, and so what I did was I just wrote down the hard stats that to me that matter the most, and not to everybody, but they're definitely, big stats. We're talking about at-bats, runs, hits, home runs, RBIs, walks, strikeouts, and averages, and then also the fielding percentages. And then I broke down the 7-year totals. For the Mike Schmidt, I wrote down, I did actually slugging and on-base percentage, but for the Mike Schmidt, I actually had just used his career final averages, and I'll talk about that later too, but I don't know if I want to go ahead and go over the whole. Yeah, I do. Let's do it. Okay. I found this really fascinating because, everybody knows that Mike Schmidt is the best third baseman of all time. Well, Nolan Arenado is better, statistically on paper for his first 7 years. So I'm gonna try to get this down to where you guys can see it better. And so basically, here's the stats up here. Okay. And I'll read them along so that way we can talk about. Hey, Homer, get out of there, boy! Get out of there! No, my dog's trying to get in between my legs and love on me and stuff. But anyways, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and start at the top. Like I said, I wrote down their ages. They're both 22 years old, and I think that's notable. So the at bats right here, there's a big difference. 2013 is obviously Arenado. 46 to 34, the runs 49 to 2, 130 hits to a 7. So basically, we don't really have to talk about the first year too much, but The average, the average is a big deal. I think 267 for Arenado and Mike Schmidt 206, and then the fielding percentage, 973 over 964. Arenado has the fielding percentage, so that's pretty good. Okay, 2014. So Arenado has 432 at bats to 367. The runs 58 to 43. The hits 124 to 72. That's a big difference. The home runs are the same. 18 home runs. RBIs, Arenado has the edge, 61 to 52. The walks, that's where Mike Schmidt has the edge, 62. Strikeouts, Arenado has the edge, 58. Strikeouts only 136. So, Mike Schmidt struck out a lot more, but he walked a lot more. It's pretty interesting. And the average is Nolan Arenado 287 average to Mike Schmidt's 196. And the fielding percentage is pretty close, 959 to 954. So you guys can see in the first 2 years how many times Arenado has the edge. He has it with his glove, his average, his hits. He strikes out less, doesn't walk as much, but home runs are the same. Has more RBIs, way more hits. Arenado has the edge. So let's go to the third year, 2015 at bats. Arenado has more at bats. That's because Mike Schmidt walks more. Nolan Arenado only walked 34 times, and Mike Schmidt walked 3 times that much, 106. So that's the key note right there. Runs, Mike Schmidt actually had more runs. He scored 108 to 97. Hits, Arenado has more hits, 177 and 160. I drew these little stars right here because it's important to me to note the fact that they were the league leaders in home runs. In their third seasons. Being third baseman, that's a pretty big deal. Usually most of your power, comes from the outfield and first base, and most of the time. And that's where a lot of the love in the hobby goes, to the outfielders and first basemen and shortstops. But third basemen really get overlooked. I mean, if you look at Cal Ripken Jr. rookie cards prices compared to Griffey's, the Griffey's are much newer. The Ripkins, they weren't in the junk racks era. Cal Ripken Jr., hey, knock it off. He accomplished a lot in his career. And, Griffey had 630 home runs, but to be a shortstop / third base, for Ripken to have about 440, that's big time. And that's why I'm doing this video. I really think that people need to take a look at third base and start spending a little bit more in the hobby on the third baseman. Cal Ripken, Arenado, Matt Chapman, Mike Schmidt too. Third base is a very underlooked, position in the hobby, and I don't like it, even going back in time to some of the greats back in the day, Ron Santo, Brooks Robinson, God, who else am I living out? I think Eddie Matthews was a third baseman. There's just so many good third basemen over, the history of MLB. It's crazy. And they're all really undervalued. So we'll go back to the third year, 42. Arenado has the edge. RBIs 130. Arenado has the edge over 116. Walks, Mike Schmidt walked a lot more. Strikeouts, Arenado struck out less, 110 to 138. And the averages are pretty close. Arenado has the edge, 287 to 282. And then the fielding percentage, 966 to 954. Arenado has the edge. So let's go to the next year, 2016. At bats, Arenado has more at bats because he walks less. Where's the walks right here? 68 to 101. So if you take 562 and you add 40, they're really close. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the runs. Arenado has the runs, 116 to 193. The hits, 182 to 140. The home runs, 41 to 38. And they both led the league again. Back-to-back years, their third and fourth seasons, they led the leagues in home runs, which is very interesting to me. RBIs, 133 to 95. Arenado has the edge. Walks, Mike Schmidt has the edge, 101 to 68. And strikeouts, 180 strikeouts to 103. Arenado has the edge once again. Look at the average, 294 to 249. Arenado has the edge big time there. And then the fielding percentage, 973 to 954. Arenado has the edge. It's like almost every single category except for walks, Arenado has the edge, guys. Every single time. Okay, at bats, 606 and 584. Arenado has more at bats, but let's look at the walks. 100 walks to 62. So yeah, Mike Schmidt walked about 40 more times. So you take 584, you add 40, and they're real close, right? Runs. Actually, Mike Schmidt finally had him on something. The runs, 112 to 100. The hits, 187 to 153. Arenado has the edge. Home runs, 37-38. Mike Schmidt has him by 1, and he led the league in home runs again. So he led the league in home runs 3 times. 2017, I think the National League, who led the National League in home runs? I don't think it was Cody Bellinger. Yeah, it might have been Cody Bellinger because he had that rookie of the year. I think he might have hit 39. Okay, RBIs. Arenado has the edge, 130 to 107. Strikeouts. Arenado again. He has less strikeouts, 106 to 149. And look at the average, 309 to 262. So that's much, much bigger. You know what I mean? I mean, 47 points. And the fielding percentage, Arenado has the edge, 979 to 961. Note, on the fielding percentages, Arenado has the edge every single year. 967, 964, 980 to 963. So we won't talk about that anymore. Arenado has a better fielding percentage than Mike Trout does. And third base is a very important position for that. So let's go to 2018, 590, 544 at-bats. Let's look at the walks. So, Mike Schmidt walks more. 30... about 30 more times right here. So if you take 544 and you add 30, you get pretty close to the same numbers once again. The runs, Mike Schmidt has more runs than Arenado, 104 to 114. The hits, Arenado has the edge, 175 to 149. Arenado led the league in home runs this year with the 38, and they had the same home run numbers. RBIs, Arenado has the edge, 110 to 101. Walks, we already went over that. The strikeouts, they struck out the same amount of time, which is kind of funny. And 297 and then 274 for the average. So Arenado has a much better average. It's like 23 points higher. And then we'll go over the seventh season, 2019 for Arenado, 1978 for Mike Schmidt. At bats, Mike Schmidt has much less at bats, 588 to 513. Let's look at the walks. Mike Schmidt has about 30 more walks. So, you add 30 onto this, and it's still it's closer. There's about 30, 40 different at bats missing or whatever. But runs, 102. Arenado has the edge to 93. 185 hits to 129. Arenado has the edge again. Home runs, 41 to 21. That's significant to me. I don't know what happened to Mike Schmidt's power numbers in 1978, but maybe they moved him in the order to like number 2 or something. Who knows? I really don't know. I'm not too sure. RBIs, Arenado has the edge, 118 to 78. The walks, actually he's closing the gap a little bit, for the walks. Strikeouts, Arenado had 93 strikeouts to Mike Schmidt's 103, so Arenado wins that too. The average, 315 to 251, that's a huge difference in average. If you're talking about being a pure hitter and putting the ball in play and getting on base, with hits, Arenado is a much better hitter. And 980, that's the fielding percentage. We said we wouldn't talk about that. So, check that out on paper, guys. The stats don't lie. I wrote down that stuff, and the WAR numbers might be different, but I'm not a huge fan of WAR. I don't really like talking about WAR when we're comparing players and eras, because I don't think it's that important. I wrote down the dang freaking totals. Here they are. So this is the big picture, okay? 7-year totals at bats. Now, Arenado has about 800 more at bats. Hits 1160 to 811. That's almost 400 difference. That's a lot, because if you're talking about 800 hits, almost 400 at bats, that's an average about 500, right? So that's how much better he's hitting overall as far as hits and at bats. Okay, it's a big difference. Home runs, 190 to 227. Arenado has the edge. RBIs, 734 to 552. That's a big difference. The batting average, 295 to 246. And this is their first 7 years. His slugging percentage after 7 years is 546. And Mike Schmidt's at the end of his career, because it was hard to figure out how to do the 7 years for these two numbers for Mike Schmidt. So I just decided I would just do his career totals, slugging percentage and OPS. His slugging percentage at the end of his career is 527 overall. So yeah, I'm not gonna really, I can't compare them, but I'm informing you guys. And OPS is on base plus slugging 897 for the first 7 years, and he ended up being 908, which is actually higher because he walks a lot. Mike Schmidt had a good eye, and he would take the free pass a lot. So if what makes Mike Schmidt the best player, the best third baseman of all time, is walking to first base, you know, I don't know. Is that what makes somebody the best third baseman of all time? Is that he walks to first base? I mean, don't get me wrong. Nolan Arenado has not played nearly as many seasons as Mike Schmidt yet, but a lot of this stuff in sports cards is hype. A lot of the prices when they go up, it's all about the market and hype. People have ESPN apps, on their phones, and they pay attention to stuff. And a lot of stuff right now is going up because I think that there's no gambling and there's no sports to watch, so everybody's like kind of flocking to sports cards to fill their missing sports voids, I think. But the truth is in the stats. I broke it down for you guys. Arenado has the edge in almost every single category, almost every single year, almost every single time except for the walks. And that's pretty much it. He lost a couple times in runs, but if you take a good look at these, first 7 years of their careers, Nolan Arenado is a stud, guys, a stud. He's well on his way to being the GOAT of being, third basemen of all time. And I think that, because we're comparing to Mike Schmidt, guys. Mike Schmidt, he, pretty much everybody agrees that he's the GOAT as being third basemen of all time. And Nolan Arenado has him by a lot, in my opinion, as far as like stats. Nolan Arenado has an interesting statistic. Out of his first 5 MLB seasons, he's the only player in history to ever get Gold Glove awards his first 5 years. That's never happened any other time with any other player. Not Ken Griffey Jr., not Willie Mays, not anybody. And that's pretty an amazing thing. You know what I mean? So as far as fielding goes, Nolan Arenado is a beast. He's a great third baseman, and his offensive numbers are really good. I know that he gets a lot of discredit for playing in Colorado because the air's thinner and the ball travels pretty good there. Me personally, I have to believe what I hear because that's just the way it is. Everybody says that the ball does carry better there. And that's probably accurate. But if you put Nolan Arenado, I think in a lot of other ballparks, it's not going to hurt him that much. He's still going to put up the same type of numbers, regardless wherever he plays. He's a great player, and if he had to adjust a little bit, going to a new team or whatever, I think that he would. Whether he had to increase his strength a little bit more or whatever it was, he would do it because that's the type of person he is and that's the type of player he is. So anyways, yeah, guys, I broke it down for you guys. It was pretty fun to do, and I'd really like to see a little bit more love in the hobby for third baseman. If you don't have a Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card, go pick one up, man. If you don't have some of these Nolan Arenado Topps updates or the Topps update chromes, pick a few up, man. I really strongly, truly in my heart believe that third baseman in this hobby are going to start to go up. I don't see how, something like this can be overlooked. I think that Nolan Arenado prices are not bad. I think that they're very good, but they're not as high as Christian Yelich. And I think that what Nolan Arenado is doing at third base compared to what Yelich is doing in the outfield, to me, it's a big deal because third base is a much harder position to play. You have to spend a lot more time at your craft and your fielding, in your practice. And outfield is not hard. Most of the time you're just getting the ball and throwing it in. You run backwards, you run forwards, you run sideways a little bit. You try to get the ball down in the air. But Arenado has base runners that are right by him to worry about. He's got the bunt. And he's got to worry about shortstop, and he's got to worry about covering his base, and he's got to worry about the speed of the players. He's got to worry about so much different stuff, and to be a good third baseman and to be the best one that there is in MLB right now, and then to be putting up these type of offensive numbers. Come on, guys. Let's throw him a bone here. His prices should be almost on par with Mike Trout, to be honest with you guys. They really should. Mike Trout was a rookie in 2011, and Mike Trout cards started blowing up about, what, like really blowing up, I'd say within the last 2 years, 3 years. And right now, I think that Nolan Arenado is on the verge of blowing up. And I've talked about it a lot. I think that the Colorado effect definitely hurts him a little bit. But you know what? They've been talking about trading him and stuff like that. And I think that the Dodgers, I think that Justin Turner, this is his last year in his contract. And I would not be surprised if Justin Turner was asking for a little bit too much. And they decided to trade him and take Arenado at third base because, let's face it, look what they did with Mookie Betts. Nolan Arenado is from Long Beach, which is in L.A. Oops. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to pull this card out. I'll show you guys something right here. On the back of this card right here, it says Newport Beach, California. Nolan Arenado is from L.A. You don't think that he would love to go to L.A. to win? And play on the Dodgers? He would take less money to go there. I guarantee you he would. Not the fact that he doesn't like Colorado. He really seems to like it there, but I think that at the end of the day, he wants to win. And I think that if he signs with the Dodgers, I think he's got a really good chance to win, especially if they want to keep Mookie Betts and him. Oh, my goodness. Plus Bellinger, and then plus Gavin Lux and Jock Peterson. Walker Buehler. Their team is freaking stacked, man. So I wouldn't be surprised in a couple years to see Arenado in a Dodgers uniform, and for them to win the World Series a couple years in a row, maybe even 3 or 4 times. You just never know. I think that Clayton Kershaw needs to reinvent himself a little bit. Try to get some miles back on his fastball, and maybe develop a couple other pitches like a cutter, and that type of thing. But yeah, guys. The stats don't lie. Arenado's a beast. He's on his way to becoming the GOAT third baseman of all time. His price is already going up on that card right there, that Topps update. So before they go really, really high, think about what's the Topps update Mike Trout rookie cards doing right now. PSA 10s are like $3,500. You can pick these up right now for about 100. PSA 9s, PSA 10s for about 130. Will they go as high as Mike Trout? I don't think they'll go that high, but I can definitely see these cards starting to be $400 or $500. It's a Topps update card, just like the 2011 Trout. If you take the print runs on this stuff and you take the 2011 print runs, they're probably pretty close to the same. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that this will go up higher than the Yelich. It might even double the Yelich. So, pick some of these up. I think that it's a good investment right now. So anyways, that's all I gotta say, guys. Have a great day. Peace. Please leave a like, comment, give me a thumbs up. I know I got one hater out there, man. I think he subscribed to me, and as soon as I make a video, he gives me a thumbs down. It's the funniest thing because my video will like upload, and within like 2-3 minutes, man, I get a thumbs down. It's so funny. I don't know who I pissed off, but yeah, it's cool, man. If you want to be a troll and, just wait for your entire life for me to make a video so you can give me a thumbs down, that's pretty sad, man. But I guess if you're bored and you don't like the things that I'd like to talk about, then that's all good, man. But I just think it's funny. Anyways, yeah, keep giving me the thumbs down, dude. It's all good, bro. You know what I mean? Feel free to, acknowledge yourself. And if there's something that I did that made you mad, we could talk about it. If not, it's all good. I don't, whatever. I'm just trying to make peace, But, yeah, enough about that. Everybody love everybody. You know what I mean? I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.